Welcome in, Slumpbusters. This is your boy Kyle, and we are back with another YouTube quick hitter. So Tom Brady is retiring after 22 seasons. I know that it's not official because Tom Brady hasn't announced that he's retiring yet, but if Adam Schefter reports Tom Brady is going to retire, then Tom Brady is going to retire. It's all just a matter of timing on his schedule. He doesn't want to do it until after the Super Bowl. But Adam Schefter's concluding, based on, obviously his sources close to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers organization, that Tom Brady is in fact going to retire sometime probably between the end of the Super Bowl and free agency. But Tom Brady's going to end up retiring. And we could talk about all the accolades that everyone else is doing. I love that everyone basically unloaded all their Tom Brady love one after the other for his career coming to an end. And now they're out of ammo left for when the actual retirement ceremony comes. But even still, Tom Brady finishes his career 7-time champion, 3-time MVP, greatest dynasty in the history of professional sports, greatest winner in professional team sports, all that stuff that we talk about with Tom Brady. But you can get that anywhere. Everyone's talking about how Tom Brady's magnificent career goes and marveling at all his accolades and passing records and all that stuff. And they are obviously incredible. Great. Again, greatest athlete, greatest winner in professional team sports, part of the greatest dynasty any of us have ever seen in any professional sport. Yes, Tom Brady has all of that to his name, but I wanted to actually talk about this from the standpoint of my personal connection to Tom Brady, because I feel like my personal story is the only way that we can make the Tom Brady story unique, even if it's not super interesting, because I know what Tom Brady means to me has changed a lot over the last 5 years, as everything in my life has changed over the last 5 years, as I've grown into someone who's no longer a child and thinks critically for themselves and all of that stuff. Tom Brady was a guy I hated as a child. Hated Tom Brady. Why? Because the world told you were supposed to hate Tom Brady, one, but also I grew up in San Diego. I was a diehard Charger fan. The Patriots eliminated them in 2006 from the playoffs, which was one of my earliest football memories, was that 2006 NFL season. 2007, they made it to the AFC Championship and lost to Tom Brady. 2008, the Chargers lose in the regular season. The point being, the Chargers never beat Tom Brady. Not one time Phillip Rivers ever beat Tom Brady. And Phillip Rivers is my childhood idol. He was the best player for my football team and never once beat Tom Brady. Tom Brady took down the Seattle Seahawks, which was a fun team that I gravitated towards. When the Chargers left San Diego, I gravitated towards the Atlanta Falcons, and the Atlanta Falcons got 28-3 by Tom Brady. By the time the Eagles Super Bowl rolled around in Super Bowl 52, I was so elated that the Patriots lost, because that was it. That was the end of the Patriots dynasty. Tom Brady was vanquished. No more was Tom Brady going to do any of this. And lo and behold, they won again in one of the most impressive Super Bowl runs ever. And we've talked about how I love Patrick Mahomes, and Tom Brady's prevented Patrick Mahomes from winning 3 championships already. And this year would have been number 4 for Patrick Mahomes before this thing ever even gets started for the next 10 to 15 years of his career. He'd already be right there next to Brady. But the point still being there for the Kansas City Chiefs and for the Falcons and for Seahawks, and personal connections I have to it, I hated Tom Brady. And then as I've started doing this analysis thing and really talk about appreciating greatness, because one of the things that's shifted for me is I find it really important to appreciate greatness in these situations. And so Tom Brady's greatness is something that we've all done a great job of appreciating, because we can point to measurables and say he is the greatest of the winners, and we respect the alpha of all the alphas. And Tom Brady gets to be that. And Tom Brady walks away after, not getting to finish on his own terms with the Patriots and falling out with Bill Belichick. He goes to Tampa, which, by chance inherited a fantastic situation with the Buccaneers. They happen to get better once he got there. He brings Gronk with him. He brings Antonio Brown with him, and they win a miraculous championship. I know it was a great peak at the end for the Buccaneers. They win a pretty miraculous championship in 2020. They get the Kansas City Chiefs when their offensive line is down. And that's the one that kind of puts it over the top for me of, why am I going to do this hatred thing anymore? Why am I going to continue to do the hatred thing and make myself miserable? Because I'm gaining nothing from it other than breaking my own rule of not appreciating greatness. Because how can you not respect the dude who said at 35 years old, when he got benched for Jimmy Garoppolo, and he said, I'm going to use all my resources, all of my physical ability to play football until I am 45 years old. And he did it. And he did it at the highest levels of the sport, winning a championship last year, finishing top 5 in the MVP this year. Tom Brady made it to 45 years old. Totally impeccable, incredible, won 2 championships more because of it, instead of only being one of the great winners of all time who, got a championship gifted to him by the Tuck rule and wasn't actually that great during the 2001 and into 2003 championship runs. Tom Brady was all right, but wasn't great during those teams. And as someone who gets that benefit of the doubt and went a decade without winning, he gets to be the unquestioned greatest player in the history of team sports. And those last few years did it for him. He set the goal of, I'm going to play till I'm 45, did it, and then had the foresight to walk away once it looked like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers roster was going to fall apart, seeing the writing on the wall that either you stay with a team that's about to fall apart and you're going to be exposed as like the 10th best quarterback in the NFL, because that's basically what Tom Brady's been for the last 6 years, is like the 10th best quarterback in the NFL. We copped out and gave him an MVP one year because Todd Gurley didn't win it for some reason. But the point being, Tom Brady's been around that number. He's going to walk away relatively on top. I mean, last year would have been the fun one to walk away on top with, but relatively closely, he walks away for whatever his reasons are. I've read the Seth Wickersham book, which is a great detail of Brady and Belichick and the mindset behind both of those guys. It's not the perfect account, but it gives you a better idea of who these people are than anything we have. And for whatever Tom Brady's reasons are, Tom Brady is going to walk away from professional sports. And 22 years, 7 championships, those are the things we're going to throw out there forever. I propose that we just make one giant Hall of Fame class in 2027 with Belichick, Brady, Gronk. You can get Sean Payton, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Antonio Gates, Big Ben. Just put them all together in one giant Hall of Fame class so that we can celebrate an entire era of NFL football all together in one. Thanks for stopping into the Slumpbuster YouTube channel. Make sure to check out our game previews for the conference championships. Make sure to check out the Slumpbuster podcast from last week. It was a fun episode we did with myself and our buddy Juju Talk Sports. Get us to 2,000 subs. We're about like 10 away. Maybe by the time you're listening to this, we're at 2,000 subs, but make sure to sub anyways so that we can begin the march to 2,100 subs here on the Slumpbuster YouTube.